The Mystery of the Three Wish Sunglasses by Nicholas von Krosigk and Alex Darner. On October 15th, 1999, the sun beams down on the Smiths' mansion. Richard's parents have always been more on the richer side of things, since Mr. Smith is a doctor and Mrs. Smith is a lawyer. Big house, nice car, they have it all. They also have a great friend, John Yeller, who is 36 and comes over at least once a week. Richard Smith is an 11-year-old boy curious about the world around him. He enjoys learning and is one of the top students at his school. Richard spends most of his time reading and playing on his Game Boy. He is a pretty brave kid, but has one fear he can't face: the hidden room in the basement of his mansion. Ever since they first moved into their house in '97, the basement has been there. Dark and mysterious, with many boxes full of random stuff they don't use. Richard has only been down there once, when they were first moving in and putting all the boxes in the basement. Ever since then, he has avoided the basement for the 2 years they have lived in their mansion. Today, though, he decided to face this fear, to explore the mysteries the basement holds. He slowly crept down the stairs, praying that nothing came after him. Flashlight in hand, light rapidly shaking back and forth as Richard's hand vibrates. He reaches the bottom of the stairs, and the door slams behind him. He starts to panic and begins to run back up the stairs, but his flashlight turns off. He looks back down the stairs and faintly sees a person standing with a knife in his hand. The man runs at him, then Richard wakes up. It was all a dream. It is the middle of the night, and Richard is sweating bullets. Richard grabs a kitchen knife, and without hesitation, he goes back down to make sure it wasn't real. As he walked down the steps, he realized that none of this could be real. So he looked around, rummaging through the boxes, and behind a couple was a hole that he could just barely fit through. He thought about it for a second, deciding whether he was going to explore through this random hole in the wall of his creepy basement or go back to bed. He finally made the decision and started crawling through the hole. As he kept crawling through the hole, he saw a light at the end. Finally, he got to the light, and it ended up being a small room with only a table in the center. He realized that he was under his porch leading to the backyard. A little bit of moonlight came from a vent he saw above him. This illuminated the table, showing a little pair of dope sunglasses. The shades were a light blue, and they fit his head perfectly. Richard couldn't wait to show his friends these new sunglasses. There wasn't much else to look at, so he started crawling back through the hole. He got back to his basement and continued searching through the boxes. He found nothing of use. Richard wished that he would have found something cool, like a CD from his favorite band, the Backstreet Boys. Poof! The newest CD by the Backstreet Boys appeared in Richard's hand. Richard took the glasses off in shock to make sure the glasses weren't messing with his vision. He thought quickly and yelled, "I wish I had $1 million." Nothing happened. Richard looked down at the sunglasses and put the pieces together. To get the wish, the sunglasses have to be on when it's said. He put the sunglasses in his pocket and went on. He began to walk to the stairs when he heard a creak from the top. He looked up to faintly see a shadow in the doorway. His parents had to be asleep since it was so late at night and he wasn't making any noise. The shadow started walking down the stairs, and when he shined his flashlight on the person, he was holding a knife. He couldn't tell who it was, but he looked familiar. Richard started running back farther into the basement, but had nowhere to go. He started screaming, but it seemed like anything he did wouldn't work. This person grabbed Richard by the stomach, put duct tape over his mouth, threw a bag over his head, and started heading back up the stairs. Richard gave up all hope while the kidnapper opened the front door and went to a car, popped the trunk, threw him in, and drove off. After about a 5-minute drive, the kidnapper stopped. He dragged Richard into a room and sat him in a chair and tied him to it. He took the bag off Richard's head and ripped the duct tape off of his mouth. That's when Richard finally saw who did this to him. It was John, his parents' best friend. He was in total shock and so confused on why he would kidnap him. They sat there, right across from each other, just staring at one another, until Richard couldn't take it anymore and he pulled the sunglasses out of his pocket and put them on his face. He wished that John was tied up in a chair. Poof! Ropes were wrapped around the other chair and John was sitting in it. He then wished that he was released from the rope that was keeping him from escaping. Poof! All the ropes disappeared, allowing him to escape. Now John was in complete shock, wondering how all this was happening. He wished that he was free, but nothing happened. Richard got up and walked up to John. He pulled out the knife in his pocket and stabbed him in the neck. Relieved, Richard walked out of his house while the sun was starting to rise. Now he had to figure out how to get home.